medical care, and so on and so forth. So today, this is sort of the foundation of what is popularly known in business ethics as the stakeholder theory. So again, the issue is when a company is faced with making business-related decisions, if its interest is, and it should be, to try to make the best decision possible, both from a legal standpoint, an ethical standpoint, and a bottom line standpoint, the recommended way for companies to approach that is to make a list of those who are stakeholders or individuals or groups that have a stake or an interest in the decision that the company makes. In other words, who is going to be affected by this decision? And let's balance the interest of all the parties. So, of course, among the top stakeholders for any business are going to be the employees. How is this decision going to impact the employees? I used the Walmart thing last week, right? Open and close the store. Yes? Okay. Vendors, the people who sell the stuff to Walmart that they turn around and sell to their customers are going to be impacted. Customers are going to be impacted. Obviously, you got to throw in here because of the legal requirements, the shareholders of Walmart, because Walmart has an absolute legal obligation to make decisions concerning its business in the best interests of the shareholders. The point being that what they need to make sure they're doing is not making random decisions or arbitrary decisions, but in fact they're keeping in focus the notion that the shareholders are the owners of the corporation, but for the shareholders there may be no corporation. Those are the folks who put up the money to invest in this company, and therefore under the law, and you'll see this later in the semester when we get to corporations, the directors and officers of a corporation have what we call a fiduciary duty to the shareholders. Fiduciary means a duty involving a high level of trust. So another way of saying it is that the directors and the officers of the corporation are fiduciaries with respect to the shareholders, or they are in a fiduciary relationship with the shareholders, which again means that the shareholders, because of their monetary investment in the company, the shareholders have placed, by definition, a lot of trust in the board of directors and the officers to run the business the right way and in a way that will maximize the chances of their earning a profit. But that can't be, from an ethical standpoint, satisfaction of their duty to the shareholders does not take care of the interest of these other groups. So from an ethical standpoint, the shareholders have to be factored in, but so do all of these other people, including the community in which the business is located. So, I want to talk a little bit about Enron. I don't think that we've actually discussed that in any detail. If I have, somebody tell me now. Sorry, I'm repeating. Okay. So Enron was a huge corporate scandal that took place in 2000, 2001. Because it was such a horrible corporate scandal, and because so very many people lost everything, Congress's reaction to what happened in the Enron mess was to very quickly pass the so-called Sarbanes-Oxley Act. So Enron kind of exploded and imploded, if you 2002, immediately went to work trying to address the problems that allowed an Enron to take place. So here's some of the basic facts on the Enron debacle. It was, at the time, it was the single largest bankruptcy in U.S. history. Employees of the company not only all lost their jobs, but many of them lost hundreds of millions of dollars. Well, not many of them, but all of them collectively lost hundreds of millions of dollars because a lot of the employees had taken up the recommendation of management and had invested in stock in the company for whom they worked. In other words, the directors, the officers were always telling the employees, this is a great investment. If you want to contribute to your 401k retirement plan, we recommend you do this to a great extent by purchasing stock in our company. The more you show the public you have great faith in the company, the more productive we're going to be, and the richer you're going to be when you retire, and the better off all the shareholders will be, yada, yada, yada. The shareholders lost, this is in 2001, 2002, $62 billion worth of value. So while there were a lot of people that had made some decent money investing in this stock over the years, it all basically came down to nothing because the stock, after the nest that exploded, the stock just plummeted in value and was barely worth $1 a share. So Enron came about through a merger in the early 1990s. You don't have to worry about getting this part down, but between a company called Houston Natural Gas Corporation and a really big energy company that was located out in Omaha, Nebraska called Enron. As it turns out, oddly enough, when I was a baby lawyer, I had to work with one of the partners in my firm on a case involving Enron. Enron was actually our client. This is in the 80s, and it was a $200 million, what they call take or pay case. I won't bore you with the details, but it all had to do with natural gas. And we had to go to trial against the bad guys, and we won. I didn't get to do much but hand the documents to the big boss because I was a baby lawyer, and he let me write everything. He let me do all the dog work, the library research and writing all the motions, but when it came time for a little action with the jury, yeah, he had to hog all the fun for himself. But at any rate, we won the case. So I have a little familiarity with this company. It was a huge corporation, and at the time we represented them, this merger with Houston Natural Gas wasn't even on the horizon. So when those two companies merged, they formed the largest energy trading company ever. So energy trading companies are like, kind of sui generis. They're in a class of their own. These are companies that basically purchase energy from companies who generate and produce energy. Enron was kind of the middle guy who then took the energy that they purchased from the producers and sold it to utility companies and things of that sort. So one of the peculiarities about this industry was that companies that engaged in this kind of business usually entered into very long-term contracts, both with the people who were going to supply them with the energy and with their own customers to whom they were going to sell the energy. In fact, long-term meaning like up to 20 years. So you don't see a whole lot of contracts that have 20-year terms to them unless the parties to those contracts are extremely comfortable with each other. But that was the way it was done in the energy trading business. Now, couple that fact that their contracts were all very long-term with the fact that under the FASB rules, Financial Accounting to report, when they had to make their reports, their annual reports, their quarterly reports to the SEC, the Securities Exchange Commission, they were allowed to report as earned income profits that they had not actually yet earned, right? Profits that they anticipated earning in the future under these very long-term contracts. So we're in year 2 of a contract. It's got a 20-year term. You know, by year 3, yeah, things are going well. So we have every reason to believe that for the next 17 years, this contract's going to stay in place, right? So we're going to go ahead and report that we've earned money under this contract that we have not as yet earned because we're only in year 3. So think about that for a minute and know that that was a recipe for utter disaster. Whose bright idea that was, I have no idea, but it shows you, I mean, the people who write these standards for the Financial Accounting Standards Board are not like lightweights or idiots, right, normally. But something fell apart here because that rule in and of itself, I mean, you know, a 10-year-old could tell you if they understood a little bit about finance, and that ain't going to work because there are too many things that can happen in the future to disrupt the contract or disrupt the, you know, maybe the parties have to go back and renegotiate the contract because the price is too high or the price is too low, depending upon the natural gas market internationally. So it was a really bad notion, and it was made to order for a company like Enron to cook the books, to fudge the figures, to basically misrepresent how well this company was doing financially. This was a publicly traded company, so the public could go onto the stock exchange and purchase stock in this company whenever they felt like it. And as a result of that, the company has a huge obligation and many, many duties under the law to make sure that the information they're putting out there, the information they're filing with the SEC, which, by the way, then becomes accessible to anybody who wants to check it out through the SEC's website. You can go on the Securities Exchange Commission's website and pull up any company's quarterly reports, annual reports, financial statements, on and on and on. So the importance of that information being accurate and reflecting the current state of affairs is great. I mean, it has to be that way. But because of this peculiar little financial standard, there was no problem there. So the company was formed in the early 90s. By December of 2000, the shares of stock had reached selling price of about $85 per share. Again, most employees had invested large sums of their retirement packages in company stock. So, of course, because they were allowed to report these earnings that they really hadn't actually earned yet and might never actually earn, depending on what goes on in the market and in the future, they were reporting, as I said, anticipated earnings as though they were realized gains, as though they had already been earned. So by the year 2000, right before the stuff hit the fan, 50% of the company's reported $1.4 billion pre-tax profits consisted of these anticipated future earnings. 50%. And of course, the stock had gone crazy in the stock market because as people are investing and they're checking the performance of this company and the increase in the value of the stock, man, for the first 10 years, it's just a bump, 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 up, 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 up. Like the sky is the limit. So if you're looking to invest and you know a little bit about what you're doing, that looked like a great deal, right? Because their track record for 10 years was magnificent. Another problem that led to the downfall of Enron was that they set, as with many bonuses that managers could earn by year end were of course tied to their earnings goals. So if each department met its earnings goals, then the manager of that department was going to get a big, fat, gigantic bonus at year end. So again, another incentive to fudge the books. Even if we weren't actually bringing in these earnings quite yet, let's report it like we are so I can get my bonus, right? And that, so that one. And then you have a little, and this is where they really get into very murky, virtually criminal waters. They also engaged, or the company engaged, in a lot of off-the-book transactions. So one of the things they did was, in the early years of Enron, they set up all these subsidiary companies that Enron wholly owned, right? And of course, to make sure that the people who were running the subsidiary companies were going along with the game plan here, Fred Way, who was the chief executive officer of Enron, he appointed his kids as presidents of these subsidiary companies. So, you know, keeping it all in the family, right? What they did was to take most of the losses that should have been shown on Enron's books over the first 10 years or so, they transferred those losses to the books of these wholly owned subsidiaries that nobody really knew much about. They weren't really real companies. They were on paper, but they didn't really engage in an independent kind of business or even a related business. They assigned all kinds of assets to the subsidiaries. When they created them, assigned value to those assets, highly inflated the value of the assets that had been assigned to the subsidiaries, and then transferred all the losses from Enron's books to the books of the subsidiaries. So it looked like Enron was this absolute phenomenon that nobody had ever really seen before in terms of the way this company took off and the profits they were earning. So the point here being that when the stuff all hit the fan, it was too late to do anything about the situation. So, as I said, the investors lost $62 billion of value from stock. Employees, which was the saddest of all tales, because a lot of these were like most of us, like regular folks that work jobs, right? And as you get older, you hope that, you know, you're working for a good company, you're making a good salary, you want to be able to retire. They're telling you, invest, we'll make it worth your while, the sky's the limit, and so you do. And because of that, many of these people lost their life savings. One woman's story in particular that I remember was in her mid to late 60s and was just a year or so away from retiring. She had built up a nest egg of Enron stock worth somewhere between $800,000 and $900,000, which she figured, yeah, you know, if I'm careful about how I spend it, that'll get me through the rest of my life. Boom, this hits the fan. She ends up with stock worth something under $100. So this woman is in her late 60s, really probably not going to be able to easily find another job. There is no more Enron. Enron went into bankruptcy and just was dissolved. And so, thank you very much. What her point was, what am I supposed to do at this point? The other thing that happened, of course, was that Arthur Andersen was the accounting firm for Enron. And there is no way, and the feds knew this immediately, there's no way that Arthur Andersen was Enron's accounting firm and did not know what the hell was going on. I mean, come on. If so, how are you earning your fees as their accountants? What the hell are you doing, right? So the day that the feds busted Enron, descended on their headquarters in Houston, another group of FBI agents descended on Arthur Andersen's headquarters in Houston and found like every available employee standing in front of every available shredding machine, feeding paper like crazy into those machines, burning up shredders, right? Trying trying to dispose of the evidence. Well, that won him a lot of friends at the FBI. So, again, Arthur Andersen also went by the wayside. Arthur Andersen was a major, one of the so-called Big Eight accounting firms that had been around for, I don't know, probably almost a century, and did business internationally, and now simply no longer exists because of what they were doing, obviously to hang on to probably what was their best customer or client, Enron, but they were complicit in what Enron was doing. There's no way they could possibly deny that, and so that company imploded as well. So, in an attempt to sort of deal with this, Sarbanes-Oxley Act set up, there are a multitude of provisions of the Sarbanes-Oxley Act. For our purposes, in the ethics chapter, you're only responsible for the following three things. So, one of the things that SOX did was to require all publicly traded companies, such as Enron, require all publicly traded companies to set up a confidential reporting system so that if any of their employees became aware or became suspicious with a good reason that things were being done in a way that was either illegal or at least highly unethical, they could report that information to a confidential reporting system. They could report it anonymously so that lower level employees could raise red flags and not worry about being the one who was going to be fired because they're ratting out their bosses or their department heads or whatever it might be. There was one woman in particular who worked, I don't remember if she worked for Jeffrey Skilling, who was the CFO, or Way, but she apparently continued to go to her bosses for a period of a couple of years off and on, going like, okay, like, you guys know you can't keep doing this, right? Because you're building this house of cards. You're putting it out there that you're making all this money that you ain't making and you may never make. So how can you keep doing this? And they were basically, the message to her was, yeah, thank you so much. We know what we're doing. Go back to work and leave us alone. And she took the risk that she could have hacked off one of the guys she was reporting on and ended up being fired, but she was kind of a mid-level manager, and so they dealt with her a little bit delicately, didn't fire her, but basically blew her off and said, mind your own business, go back and do your own job, and you'll be fine. So this notion, this concept of SOX to require publicly traded companies to set up some kind of confidential reporting system that their employees can call and blow the whistle on them was a really important factor because it gave employees the comfort level that they needed in order to blow the whistle on their bosses doing bad things, illegal and or highly unethical, without their having to fear losing their jobs. It also gave rise to a little cottage industry. One of the first companies created was out in Washington State. It was called Ethics Point. And what they did was they had as their clients a lot of these huge corporations. And what Ethics Point's work was, they provided 1-800 numbers to all of their clients, who then provided those numbers to their employees. And employees were encouraged to contact Ethics Point through this 1-800 number. They were assured that any reporting they did, any whistleblowing they did, was going to be anonymous and kept confidential, and they could not possibly be retaliated against for blowing the whistle because no one would know who actually called. Even the reporting system, you didn't have to give your name. You did have to say, I work for Enron and I work in this department, and here's the bad guy that I think is doing things that the company really needs to know about if they don't know about it already. So then the person who takes that information, the person at Ethics Point, is then responsible for contacting a point person back at Enron or whoever their client saying, we got a bad report on one of your execs. Here's the gist of the report, just wanted you to know. And then, of course, what Sarbanes-Oxley contemplates is that once Ethics Point makes that report back to the corporation, it's now the corporation's job to investigate this claim to make sure this crap really isn't going on, or if it is, that someone high enough up is going to be aware of it and take some action to put an end to it. So these days, those kinds of 1-800 confidential reporting systems, they take reports not just of like unethical practices and illegal practices from an accounting standpoint or a stock securities standpoint, but also they'll take reports of discrimination, harassment, all of that kind of stuff now. Environmental violations by their company of environmental laws, all of those are ways that people can now blow the whistle on companies and hopefully not have their jobs placed in jeopardy. Because most people, you know, at the lower levels, people have consciences, right? If they know this is going on, they look around and go, man, this is ridiculous. They can't keep doing this. But then you start thinking about it, and you go, yeah, but I'm not going to be the one that stirs the pot here. I'm not going to get the ball rolling and be the one complaining because I'm going to be the one out of a job, and the bad guys who are doing all this crap are going to be allowed to stay here and keep earning the bonuses that they're not entitled to and all that kind of stuff. So that was a very important aspect of it. Another aspect of Sarbanes-Oxley that came directly out of Enron was one of the things when the stuff hit the fan and congressional hearings were started and lawsuits were filed and the FBI was looking at bringing criminal charges against a lot of the executives, the defense that most of these executives and their high-priced lawyers settled on was, who, me? No, that wasn't my job. I'm the CEO. That making sure that all the numbers and everything are correct and all the filings we do with the SEC, that ain't my job. That's the CFO's job and his staff. That was up to him. CFO goes, well, yeah, we generated the numbers, but the chief executive officers, the top